everybody, it's Dragon here, a mythical dragon, and doing a vlog thingy for you guys. As you can tell, I'm doing sort of an update vlog thingy, and just wanted to talk about some stuff that's happened and why my channel's been basically dead for a while. I apologize for that, by the way, but hopefully by explaining everything that I've been through the last few months will maybe clarify why. Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so let's get down to business. So this year has been a little crazy for me. I started a new teaching job at a different school in September, and it looked like it was going to be everything that I was hoping it would be. Like starting to teach English full time at the school, having classes and students in my own room, my own space, all of those like really amazing things that, teachers should get. Well, that didn't really happen. So, despite it being in my email and what I've agreed to and things like that over the summer last year, it was sort of not the case. um, I basically ended up being like sort of working for the English department at the school for a while, just kind of doing things for them, like their photocopying and running around, observing lessons, that kind of thing. Then I became sort of a supply teacher for the whole school because I was there every day no matter what. So they were like, hey, you can cover some classes while we figure out what we're going to do with you. Because basically the teacher that I was replacing wasn't going to be leaving till January. And then they didn't set up anything for me to do in the meantime. Pretty cool, right? Not really. So then after a few weeks of just me covering random classes and getting used to the school, they were like, you know what, in the UK, so this is UK's education system, so if you don't know anything about it, quick little rundown. They go by year groups instead of grades. They go from years 1 to 13, and then there's also early education and things like that as well. And then so in the UK, you get to year 11. Year 10 and year 11 are considered GCSE years, so that's a qualification they get at the end of at the end of the 2 years, and year 10, 11. And then they go into sixth form or like a college, that kind of thing. Afterwards for years 12 and 13, and then they go to university. So year 12 and 13 is called A level or AS levels. There's different terms for it, but basically sixth form. They needed a study room supervisor because they realized that their results were really poor the last year. So I jumped in and did that role. So I set the rules that they wanted. I adjusted them just for my own environment, my own sake, because they haven't had a study room supervisor in years. So I jumped into that role and did that for like almost 2 whole months. So yeah, that first whole term was me just kind of like, okay, am I going to teach at all? Like, what's happening? Then it got to about December where we got updated that like a lot of staff were moving around because we had some staff leave to go on surgery, and the teacher I was replacing was leaving too, and then some staff got moved to different like roles, and then they had to replace those roles. So basically in December they put me into random positions. So I got to teach a little bit of English, just not too often, a little bit of English, a little bit of religious studies, and then I was also doing a sixth form study for about 2 weeks. It was that kind of chaos that I went through, which was a lot because we had 3 different buildings, so I would go between 3 buildings every day almost. So it was really chaotic and such a mess. And then of course these kids thought that I was just supplying, so they didn't treat me very well either. So behavior was quite rough, and I didn't really have support because they were like, oh, it's a temporary role, just get through it. That's the mindset, by the way, for the entire school year that I worked for them. Then, after the 2 weeks, the teacher I was replacing was actually leaving, so we handed off all her classes to me, except there was a bit of a mix of stuff. So the English classes I did pick up, I also kept from another teacher, and then I taught her classes. So it was a little bit back and forth still, but I was finally teaching English full time. And I thought that would be the end. That would be the end of the story. I'm finally teaching English full time. I've got my own main classroom. I've got a form, which is like a homeroom for those of you in North America. Things were looking quite good. The last day of term in December, this is where things get weird. So they knew I was Canadian, and I think they have this. I think everyone in every foreign country that knows about Canada assumes we all speak French and English. You can see where this is kind of going. I got sat down by one of the timetabling higher ups at the school, and she's like, I've got a new timetable for you, and things have changed quite a bit. I was like, okay, what? I thought we were good, but again, a lot of staff were moving around. We lost the French teacher. This other teacher was going to be away till like February. Like things were kind of crazy, unfortunately. So she handed me this new timetable, and the first thing I noticed was a bunch of French lessons. I'm not trained to teach French. I'm trained to teach Spanish and English. I would love to do history. Religious studies wasn't too bad because that department was really organized and had lessons already prepared. You just had to go teach them. Not bad. But no, French. So it ended up working out like this. So every 2 weeks, we're supposed to teach about 40 hours of classes of work. I was given 19 hours of French. So 19 classes, well, not 19 different classes, but 19 scheduled slots for French, 15 for English, which is still quite a bit, which is all right. And then I was given 1 hour of religious studies, and then I was supposed to do 5 hours of in-class support for students with educational needs. I walked away that last day of term mortified because they also told me, by the way, the classroom you adopted will no longer be yours. You need to pack up all your things and get out of there by the end of today. I was like, great, what? And so I was basically told from January to mid-February. I'll just kind of speed through this story a bit. I did all that chaoticness and craziness, and it wasn't good. I had a lot of support from the English department because they kind of helped me because I got all new English classes as well, except for one. I kept one that I had since December, like the start of December, but then I lost all my other English classes and got brand new ones. I was given all these French classes, not knowing any French, and then my RE class that I got, my art religious studies class that I got, were students I was teaching in French, so I thought, okay, well, they're going to see me often, no problem. Except big problems, because the French department isn't as organized as the religious studies department. They didn't have lessons prepared. They didn't have booklets printed on that first week. They had nothing for me as someone who doesn't know French. So that was basically the story of the entire 6 weeks, that whole first half term. So it was me scrambling, trying to go through the drive and like the resources and figuring things out. I finally had one of the other French teachers sit down and show me everything. Not the head of French, a different teacher who used to be head of French, and she was pretty pissed that no one had shown me anything. Long story short, I managed to kind of survive. We'll call it surviving. Students again saw me as a temporary teacher because some of them I've had before, but then I was away for a few weeks and then I was giving them again. A lot of students just saw me as a supply teacher, despite me reiterating over and over again that I am going to be your teacher. This is it. I am going to be your teacher. So struggled quite a bit with behavior, and then I didn't have support from the French department at all. I was just told in emails where to go to get resources. And then I got yelled at for trying to solve things on my own. And then they're like, oh, you could have just came and got me, when I could never find the people that I need to help support me. So chaotic mess. It was hard on me quite a bit. But my English classes got better. Well, my French classes stayed pretty crappy, to be honest. Going to half-term break, which was nice because I came back to Canada to visit family, which was really, really good, and I needed it, considering I had spent 6 weeks learning French just to teach it. Came back to Canada, and it was all good, and it was all good. And then I came back, and the first day back, I was given some interesting news. My agency called me, so I worked for an agency that basically employs me to go work at schools. And my agency called me, basically saying, hi Violet, we've got bad news for you. It looks like the school and us the agency and the school, so we and the school, have decided to terminate your contract early, starting April 3rd. So you'll be working the next 6 weeks, and then afterwards we gotta figure something else for you. Me going, what? Excuse me? can you actually do that? Because, like, I'm on a contract, and they're like, oh, but because we agreed on your behalf and the school agreed, it's allowed. No consultation of me whatsoever, no warning, no nothing. Then I spent the rest of the week kind of panicking, going, well, what's my next steps? Is there going to be jobs after April? We're hitting this coronavirus epidemic, and at this point, February, right, that's when the world is starting to become more aware of it. And they're like, we're going to try our best to try to find you some job. It might not be in your field. It might be with working with social educational needs. It might be working at a primary level. We'll try to find you something. I was like, okay, great. Fine, let's do this. um, but no. But then work got interesting because they changed my timetable again on me. So I dropped 2 French classes, which was a relief. Less French, the better. Then they gave me an extra class, which was in photography. Now, I'm an Instagram person, so I'm like, I can show you how to use a nice filter. Photography, what? But it actually was not too bad because the photography teacher is so organized and such a sweetheart that she basically just gave them like weekly projects to do. And so when I came in, it was just them doing the project. So it wasn't too bad. But it was still like, I was in 4 different classrooms now. Oh, and they got rid of my my homeroom. They just randomly took that off my timetable. And they took away my in-class support as well. What? I was just so like, what the hell is going on? Cue about beginning of March. So things were getting, I think March is when we can all agree COVID-19 got really scary for a lot of different countries, places, and for the world. My agency basically said they had no jobs for me at this point. I was trying to apply on my own to other schools as well, doing all that I could. And then I was getting interviews for like mid-March, and then they all got canceled because COVID-19. They weren't going to bring in random people into their schools just in case of the virus. So then I had no job prospect whatsoever. Cue almost about a month ago when Justin Trudeau, our Canadian Prime Minister, he started doing daily updates about COVID-19 in Canada because it started actually in each province there started to get a case. And then his wife got COVID-19 herself, so they were in isolation, all these things. And then I remember it was a Monday where I was like, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, should I move back sooner than April 20th? Because that was when I originally was just going to move back home. I gave up job hunting, gave up all that stuff. I'm just going to move home April 20th. Which, 420, but anyway. So I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. Like, this was over the weekend, like the Friday, the Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday came when Trudeau did this daily update. And in his briefing, he announced that he was indeed shutting the borders for foreign travelers, except for Canadian citizens and residents, American citizens and residents. Those were the only people that could travel to Canada at this point. Cue a lot of panic and stress and having to make a really tough decision that night, but basically in the middle of his address to the country and to Canadians everywhere, he said, Canadians, if you are abroad, it's time for you to come home. And that made my decision for me. I was like, I have to go home. I have to go home. So, this is where my life gets really crazy. Made that decision, so that was last month. I think that was the 16th of March, okay? So not even a month ago, 16th of March. I made that decision. Next morning, went into work, made a meeting with my head teacher, and emailed my agency and just said, hey, I've made the decision that because I'm not going to have a job after April 3rd, and it's hard to get a job right now with the virus, because in the UK it was really bad. The cases were rising, but Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister there, wasn't doing the same measures as Canada. Like, they were getting way more strict in Canada, while the UK was like, we're going to see what happens. It was just different perspectives, and that's fine. The world works that way. So, Tuesday morning, told the head teacher, told my agency, they both were totally fine with that decision. They're like, yeah, you know what, you gotta get home. You don't have a job here. We don't want you to put you in a position where you're jobless in London, one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. Jobless and then stuck here, and then my visa was up in August. So, like, if I was in quarantine till August, things could happen with my visa. So they both agreed, yep, you know what, you can move. Your last day will be that Friday, the 20th of March. Just kind of say your goodbyes. So basically, if you look at a calendar, made my decision 16th, and then I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 5 days to pack up my entire life in the UK and say goodbye to as many people as possible. Yeah. While still working full time. Then things got worse because I was like, okay, well, my decision's made. I'm going to tell people. I'm going to tell my students so they're aware of what will happen, blah, blah, blah. Then on the 18th of March, finally, Boris Johnson and the government and the education ministry and all that kind of, all those people basically announced we will be shutting down schools after Friday 20th. The schools will be shut down. There will be online home learning, that kind of stuff. That last week of me living in the UK was intense at work. We were printing off worksheets and booklets and resources for all of our students and all the departments. And then we were also trying to explain them and answer all their questions about it. Because again, these kids are like between 11 and like 18 years old. They're just really concerned about their exams, how learning's going to work online, that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff happened. We had to like go and do printing. Photocopiers broke down. Printers broke down. Like it was a mess, but we kind of just had to work around it. But we got it all done. And then in the evenings, I would just spend the entire evening packing and messaging people, telling them about my decision and saying goodbye virtually like we are all doing right now. And it was pretty intense, and it was really hard to do that. But I did it. I managed to get my entire life packed up, and then on the Saturday the 21st, thanks to my gran, she sent enough money for me to get my my bus ticket, my plane ticket, a cab to the airport, and then enough for my baggage. So I'm not going to tell you the total, but just know that that's a lot, and that's something I'm going to work hard at helping my gran, kind of like repay my gran back, because that was a huge investment in just getting me home. But she was more than willing to get me home because she was really scared for me, especially because London was like the hot spot for the virus and still is. But anyway, 21st, said goodbye to my roommates. I told my landlord everything was kind of worked out, and everything worked out well. I don't think I'm going to get my deposit back, but that's fine. I mean, I have to get home. And then cue 2 weeks of isolation, which was really, really hard. Because I was home and I could go see family. I wanted to go see my family, but I couldn't because it was mandatory quarantine for 14 days. So I basically lived in the place that I'm at right now, which boxes are behind me, and that'll be another part of this update for you. So I couldn't go see any of my family despite being finally home for good. But I just started doing things that I could do. So like I got into a workout routine, which I can already tell that I'm starting to look and feel way better. Workout routine, try to stay to 3 meals a day, to limit my snacking, which is really hard because for some reason in quarantine I was very hungry all the time. And then just help my parents and stuff pack. So I stayed here with my mom and my stepdad. My little brother, who usually lives with them, stayed at my gran's for the whole time that we were gone, or that I was going through this quarantine, because he's a little guy and we don't want him to get sick, and we don't want my gran to get sick. So served out the 2 weeks, and it was frustrating for me because I was like, I'm home, I'm going to talk to my friends, but then everybody's going through so much of COVID-19 and dealing with so much that it was really hard to actually get a hold of friends. But I started to get into like a regular routine with some friends. I've got girls' night with Quindle and Flute, which I love, and I always need it so much. And then I've got Daryl, who's Spam Weights, of course, who we chat as much as we can. And yeah, and just doing things just to kind of keep sane. Cue updates as of today. Served my time in quarantine, can now go outside for essential reasons, so like moving. So my parents have been living in a basement suite for 3 years, and they loved it. It was great. They served their time here, but now they want another new place. So they've got a brand new apartment, and it looks really nice, and there's a balcony, and oh my god, I love it. I'm so excited. But it also means we're really, really busy. We've been doing loads back and forth between the basement and the new place. We've been making sure we buy things that we need for the new place. We've just been doing a lot. But on top of that, I need to figure out a lot of stuff here. My bank account, I'm opening a new bank account with another bank because my other bank kind of screwed me over when I was in the UK quite a bit. Like I was just sending stuff money every month just to kind of make sure it stays active. And then I renewed my cards online, but that never actually went through and they didn't tell me, so that bank account's actually temporarily closed. And of course, with this stuff going on with COVID-19 and the measures that we're taking here in Alberta, I can't go in and get that sorted. And I can't call because I don't know where my original card is, so unless I go through all my things and find it, I can't do anything about it. So I'm in the process of opening a new bank account because I can't do anything else in my life without a bank account. I can't really get a new job with a bank account. I can't sign up for unemployment without a bank account. I can't do taxes without a bank account. Like, I'm pretty screwed if I don't have a bank account. So hopefully on Monday I can go into the branch and be like, hi, this is just going to be a very short visit. I just need to show an agent my ID, get my card, and go. So that's been my craziness the last couple weeks outside of isolation, or this last week, I guess, outside of isolation, has been me trying to figure out what I need to do to kind of either sign up for unemployment or job hunt. And job hunting right now is really difficult because there's not jobs out there. So I've been applying to whatever I can see online, and even if it's outside of my career, I'm going back to like retail and fast food, which has been hard. Because if you think about it, I've been a teacher for 2.5 years. Those have been my jobs. I've been to 3 different schools in 2.5 years. That's been my job. Now I'm going like 8 steps backwards. I know it's temporary, and you guys are probably going to say like, oh, don't worry, Dragon, it's just temporary. You'll be a teacher again soon. But Alberta's government isn't valuing education. So I don't even know if there will be jobs after this for me as a teacher. So there's panic. There's a lot for me to figure out when it comes to my career. Some suggestions my friends have made is just work full-time temporarily somewhere else and then maybe go back to school for something. Do a master's in maybe librarian studies, or do a master's in educational psychology, or go and get enough credits to do educational psychology. I gotta figure out what I need to do, what my next steps are. My mom is pushing me to kind of get a job. Just kind of find whatever you can right now and work and avoid unemployment. But I think I'm going to see how it goes next week, applying for jobs. And if I can't get anything or an interview or anything set up by the end of that week, I'll probably do the unemployment. So it's just, there's so much going on, and I know I'm not the only one going through all these things, but I feel like most of my friends, everyone's going through so much that they don't have the patience to necessarily listen to someone go through all these things out loud. So I'm posting this just to be like, hey, your dragon is going through all these things, but she has a smile on her face. She is working on being healthy, which is cool. And she's with family, so things are okay, I guess, and I'm lucky in that sense, but there are definitely a lot of difficult things to face coming up and currently that I don't know what to do. But I'm taking it one step at a time. Bank account, taxes, job hunt, job apply, help with the move, unemployment if that's my next step, and then just gotta wait for things to reopen and settle down and figure out, okay, cool, university is starting in September, maybe I'll go to school, maybe I'll do this, we gotta figure it out. So my head right now is swirling with all these things going on. I feel like I've been through so much in this last like 3-4 weeks that I haven't had time to just sit here and be like, alright, let's get it all out. Let's just talk about it. So this is me talking about it. I'm using it for myself, really, just to kind of get that pressure off my chest and shoulders a little bit and just be like, hey, that's what's been up. I'm sorry that my YouTube channel is basically dead, but here I am with an update and hopefully going to revive it here soon. I'll do travel tips and budget things, maybe after COVID-19, because I don't think many people are traveling right now. So maybe I'll go back to that traveling vlog stuff soon. I might do some gaming stuff because I'm really excited about all the updates in like Stardew Valley and other games that I haven't played in forever. So the channel will be active again, I promise. It's just I'm starting with this heavy stuff. Yeah, so just that's me. I had a lot to get off my chest. I'm sorry this video is quite long, but I just needed to talk and I needed to get this off my chest. I've been trying my best, guys, to live life during this craziness, and I know we all are. So I do appreciate you guys taking time to watch this if you do. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and surviving like I am. We can get through this, believe it or not. There will be a sunrise again. Okay, we will reach normalcy sometime soon. It's just we gotta wait and see. And so in the meantime, I've got a Discord, I've got all that stuff, which will be in the description. If you need people to talk to, we are in that chat. I'm in that chat every day. And I'd be willing to listen and help you guys through this too. I know how hard it is to kind of carry all this on your shoulders and not talk about it because it feels like no one will listen. But I've been really lucky too. I've had friends actually sit down and be like, what is going on with you? So I'm really grateful that friends have done that. And I'm just doing this on kind of a wider scale because I know some friends are like, we want to hear what's going on with you, but we've got stuff going on. So this is my way of being like, hey, hi, me. But if you guys need someone to talk to, I will listen to you. So just join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, send me a message. I will listen to you. That's my promise. Alright, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop rambling. And I will see you guys in the next video I do, which might be a fun, goofy gaming video. So, bye guys. Thanks for listening. We can do this. We'll get through this together. Stay golden and let's survive.